Welcome, participants, to the topic of creating a cultural commitment statement is easier than you think. I have the pleasure to work with all the folks that are going to be presenting today, and I'll be moderating and pulling the questions off the chat and presenting them or offering them up to be answered by the folks on the panel. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to the folks that are presenting.
Well, thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the MWSE Convergent Morning Show. I am your host, Georgette Holmes. I am a business service coordinator at the Michigan Works Southeast. And thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to introduce our panelists, starting with Nikki. But Nikki, I have a question for you all. What do you think about those Lions will do this year? Can we count on them?
Oh, come on, Georgie. I think I'm personally a Tom Brady fan, so I can't help you there with the Lions, but sorry, maybe some of our other panelists can help you with that, or some audience members. But good morning, Nicole Bowell, Michigan Works Southeast Communications Manager, and I am so excited to engage with our audience today about how we can share our cultural commitment statement with you. Thanks, Josie.
Good morning. Nikki, I'm not too sure about Tom Brady. I think let's go Bears. Anyway, I'm Amber Collins from Michigan Works Southeast. I am a business services specialist here in Jackson County, and I'm so excited to talk with you guys about our cultural commitment statement this morning.
Thanks, Amber. And I'm Lisa McAllister. I'm the Human Resources Manager here at Michigan Works Southeast. I am ever the optimist, and I'm rooting for those Lions. We'll see. But I, too, am just so excited that you're here and eager to share what we learned as we went through this process of defining our culture and creating a cultural commitment statement. So welcome.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. Listen, we'll just see what happens with those Lions, right? And that Tom Brady. We'll see. So thank you, ladies, for your introductions. I'd like to encourage the audience participation. Please feel free to put your comments or questions in the chat, and we'll circle back periodically to see what you have to say, but we definitely welcome you to join in. So with that being said, the purpose of our workshop, why are we here, right? Well, hopefully our journey today will take you through the steps we follow to identify our current culture and how we work toward creating a culture that was fully inclusive, safe, and capture the core values of our merged organization. With that being said, Lisa, can you kind of take us into this and tell us more about it, please?
Sure. Thanks, Josie. So I wanted to do this because culture is just such an important part of the workplace. We all spend so much time working together, and it's really important that we have a positive and engaging workplace.
That's great, Lisa. Good morning again. I'm actually really excited to share with our audience members. Looks like we have a few participants on the line. Areas of growth that maybe we could have handled differently, or maybe provide opportunities that you can learn from our mistakes.
And I think too, just discussing how, moving forward, our cultural commitment is incorporating our, culture into daily experiences as well with internal and external customers. I think just keeping it in the forefront is going to be very important as we move along.
Awesome. Listen, okay, so we have this idea. How do we move from idea to making this come into fruition? So, and why Michigan Works, right? What made you all decide to take on creating a culture commitment statement that curated your organization? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I think there were two main reasons. There were lots of reasons, but there were two main reasons that come to mind when you ask that question, Josie. The first one, just again, is that workplace culture is critically important to an organization's success.
I have to agree with that. I'd like to share when I came here and experienced the culture, just the statement during onboarding. I was immediately hooked. So, can you kind of summarize why that's important? I know why it's important to me, but what fueled this?
Sure, I'd be happy to share some of my ideas. I don't know if the audience has ideas too that they may want to put in the chat, but for me, it was just so important that that all of us, everybody on the team, understands the values and beliefs, and that we all share those set of values. We'll then know what's expected of us when we encounter various work situations when they come up. And we, again, want it to be positive. That just plays a vital part of employee engagement, and job satisfaction. And it's also a very important tool in recruiting and retention strategies.
I agree. Definitely want to create a home away from home in the workplace. I think our audience agree with you because we don't have any comments right now. So I think everybody's on board. So Lisa, you said there were 2 reasons. Do you care to discuss the other one?
Sure. The second one was actually the timing. We had this perfect opportunity, and that was because when we first took this on, back in 2016, 2017, it was right upon the completion of all the regionalization and the reorganization, so that Michigan Works Southeast became this unique organization that was now comprised of team members in 5 counties, and each of those different service centers in those counties kind of all had their own unique workplace cultures, but we had this opportunity to define the Michigan Works Southeast workplace culture. So that timing was just great to have a new culture defined. Sometimes that's easier than, trying to change an existing culture. So it was a perfect opportunity. I don't know, some of you in the audience may remember going through that reorganization.
Yeah, Lisa, that's a good point. I think maybe if anyone can raise a virtual hand using the different emojis in the chat feature, or if you would like to populate, a response in the chat feature, do any of our audience members remember going through prosperity regionalization or merging with other entities in about 2015 to 2016? That's kind of what Lisa was talking about, is taking this opportunity to create a new culture as we formed, in our case, 3 separate organizations. Anyone remember that?
Yeah, we have some hands going up. Sally says the culture is very important. It is the heartbeat of your company. Sally, I definitely agree. And Sandy Valance and Barbara, Anna Willman, they're all giving thumbs up. So they remember this, Nikki. And thank you for bringing that up, because it seemed like it has resonated with our viewers. I wanted to know, this is seems like a huge undertaking, right? So can you all kind of walk me through the process and walk our viewers through the process of how this all came into fruition?
Sure, Josie, I'll go ahead and try to answer that question. The first thing, I knew it was important that we have our highest level of executive leadership committed to this and on board with this, and that was going to be vital to our success, that we had their buy-in. So fortunately, our top management was exceedingly supportive, and that made me confident to move on to the next step.
And so after getting this approval, what happened after that?
Well, after that, the next thing I thought was we need a group of volunteers, and I was just so excited to see, who would be interested in this. So I wanted a team of coworkers that, really represented all of us, all of Michigan Works Southeast. So from all 5 centers and all different job positions, from job seeker services to business services, IT, management, non-management. I just really wanted to have a group of volunteers that truly represented our entire organization. So the first thing I did, I sent out a volunteer request through an email to everybody And I had no idea, if there was going to be a large response, I didn't know what the response would be, but I know that's what I was hoping for when I sent that email.
So you kind of cast the net out there. And ladies, what made you to decide to join this journey with Lisa?
Yeah, Josie, I can take that first. I had another meeting scheduled that I really didn't want to go to. So no, I'm totally just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I responded to Lisa's email because I just thought, like, what a great opportunity, right? We are at work for multiple hours of the day. Why not take this opportunity to have input and create the culture you want to work with? Oh my gosh, sorry. And I think it's just, we all know of Google, we all know of Amazon, Quicken. They all have these notorious company cultures. So I kind of felt like it was a great opportunity to bring some of those fun opportunities to our newly formed organization.
And to answer the question too, when I saw the email from Lisa, I thought, as a new employee, I better sign up, right? I'm still making a good impression, or wanting to. No, just kidding. But honestly, when I saw the email from Lisa, I thought, what an awesome opportunity. When working with other employers who might not have, given their culture a second thought, or kept culture, in mind when they were, speaking and communicating and working with their employees, I thought, this is a huge opportunity for my voice to be heard. And so I jumped on board, and I think it's been a great committee and something to be a part of ever since.
That's great. I love the reasons that you all give for joining the movement, right? So tell me a little bit about your first meeting. How did that go? You all answered the call. This is a totally new concept. Like, how did this start to roll out?
Oh, Josie, it's so funny you bring that up, because I will admit, before that very first meeting, I was a little uncertain how it would go, because it was uncharted waters, and I didn't have a clear idea of what the outcome was going to be. So we started off kind of really understanding what we were doing together and what culture really meant. What is that? And, of course, going over why it's so important. And we did come up with a shared objective to figure out what are Michigan Works Southeast core values, and what do we believe, and what do we want our workplace culture to look like.
Right.
And then also for that first meeting we had a statement that was provided to us from our employer of record at the time. And I thought we could at least look over that. So it was a place to start to review the existing document.
Nikki, Amber, so when you went into this meeting, what was your expectations versus what was your reality? And did you have any trepidations going into this first meeting?
Yeah, Josie, I like that question, expectations versus reality. I was expecting a meeting maybe where we were going to sit down and go over the list that Lisa just mentioned from our former employer of record. And it wasn't that at all. I mean, picture this, like multiple people in a room, and we had laptops everywhere. We had poster paper everywhere. It was a working meeting, and it was a safe space. We could say things that needed to be said, but ultimately, we really wanted to make sure everyone left feeling inspired that we could collectively impact the culture of our organization. So it was a very positive experience.
And Josie, to answer that question too, I really wasn't sure what to expect walking into that first meeting. But what I do remember really that stuck out to me and lasted was seeing, true volunteers that wanted to be there from all position levels. So, leadership, non-leadership team members that were there to make a difference. And it was truly a safe environment. And some of that discussion that was even had, kind of hashing out, what are your ideas? What's culture? What does culture mean to you? And being able to really have that voice and discuss it in that safe environment. It was fun. It had a lot of energy, and from that point, that first meeting, I felt really set the tone for our committee moving forward, and it really felt good.
Yeah, Amber, I have to reflect back when I became employed here. I immediately felt that that family feeling. And to add to what you said, this sounded like it was people driven, like the passion of the people and not a directive from the upper management. Like you all were really invested and wanted the best for your workplace.
Definitely, Josie. And I feel like even from that first meeting, there's three of us that are still, here today to talk about it and how passionate we were about it. And it's just it was a great opportunity, and I think more employers should take part in something like this.
So, you mentioned a cultural commitment statement that existed at the time. What did the team of volunteers think of that document, and why was it so important to build on it and to make sure it was for the people, by the people, of the people, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it read as the former cultural commitment statement document from our former employer record, read as a list of rules or like should nots, right? It wasn't necessarily, I think it was a great document. It was a very good starting point for us, but it wasn't necessarily framed from an asset-based perspective. So it was really important to me to make sure, like, if we're going to create this, let's do it right and make sure, like I said, like I mentioned before, it's encouraging, right? Like we support this kind of culture. We value this kind of culture instead of like, you will not treat someone XXX, So it's really important to me to make sure that we had a framework that was from an asset-based perspective.
And looking at that first document, kind of like what Nikki just said, it really came across like it had bullet points, kind of like a list of rules, things that we should do, things that we should know we shouldn't do, things like that. So I really was hoping to kind of gather information as a team, but to create a document that was more welcoming, a little more updated looking, and just warm, right? This is going to be the document that, starting as a very new person at our organization, they would see that. And is this going to identify our culture in a way that is going to make them want to work here? And so I was hoping, to really kind of take that document, run with it, grab some great ideas. We had a lot of fun looking at other types of statements that companies were working on and, kind of bring ours into that same kind of status or light. And I think we really did that. And I'm very excited to kind of go over that with you today.
Okay, Amber, then let's do that. How about you all talk us through from concept to reality, how this actually came into fruition?
Okay, so, thinking back, you guys, what did it take us? Like about a year to kind of work through all this? So
Wow.
Yeah, it really was not like a quick thing, right? But our first step was really to try, and we were thinking about what is the best way to engage our entire team so that we can really focus on what is important to them, kind of gauge where they are with what they feel about culture. And so we really came up with a short survey. We used SurveyMonkey. So I don't know in the chat if you guys have used SurveyMonkey or your feelings on SurveyMonkey. But that's the platform that we used. And we tried to keep it short, to the point. We needed it to be a very safe environment. So it was an anonymous survey so that people could feel free to, answer the questions. Not feel like they, just truthfully, right? We just needed their truthful feelings about what culture meant to them. Some of the questions that we used, you guys switched to yeah, thank you. So we had 4 questions on the survey. The first question was, what does culture mean to you? And so really this question was our way of reaching out to all team members to really understand what their understanding was of culture, right? We needed to understand where they were with that. And if we needed to educate, people on what culture truly is, that would give us the insight there. Our second question that we used was, what do you feel is our current culture? This really was a great question to gauge where people felt we were currently as an organization with our culture, because we had a lot of opportunity for this, like what Nikki was saying, Lisa was saying earlier. So I feel like we really had to understand how people were feeling with our organization's culture before we could move forward.
Absolutely.
Yes. The third
So
question,
before you finish the questions, Mary wanted to know, did you have all the locations participate, Amber?
we sure did. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
We sure did. We reached out to every team member in our 5-county region. So everybody part of the organization, top down, had the ability and opportunity to fill out this survey.
Thank you, Amber.
Yes. The third question, when you come to work, what type of culture do you want to be a part of? And this was also a very important question, because this was going to identify what people wanted to have as culture when they come to work every day, right? And so we needed to know, as a committee moving forward, where our culture was and where our team members needed and wanted our culture to go and be at. And then the last question we asked was, how do you feel about our current cultural commitment document, right? Did they see it as a set of rules or bullet points? Did they enjoy it? Did they feel it met the mark? We just really needed to know where our organization stood around culture. And from this survey, we really got open-ended answers that were truthful, constructive, positive. And, if you choose to go this route with your organization, just be prepared, for those types of answers. It took us a long time. You guys, how long did we take to kind of sift through the answers?
You're right, Amber. It took a while. And I remember too getting some feedback that, was, less than ideal, but identifying areas for us to work on. And we took that feedback and did address some other issues that came up. So it took a while.
Yeah, definitely.
So Nikki, sounds like you all did a lot of research, a lot of making sure that the response was authentic and true to represent the organization. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Research, yes, that is definitely a great word to use. So during another working meeting, we had, the large sticky easel paper. We were in a large room. We had those pieces of paper scattered throughout the entire room. And I think we went through probably 2 boxes of markers during that meeting. And what we did is we basically took the results that, Amber and Lisa just mentioned, the honest feedback, the great feedback, the areas for opportunity feedback. And we really kind of put all of the feedback on the sticky paper on the walls. And then we took that and we took a step back. And like I mentioned before, the Zappos environment or Google or Amazon cultures that are so well known, a couple of us spent some time researching what those cultures are like and what their outward facing statements are around culture. So one of the examples from Zappos included, we deliver wow through service. Like, how impactful is that? It's simple, it's short, but it's very impactful. Another one that I remember laughing with Lisa about, I think it was from Quicken, and it said, we eat our own dog food. I'm like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? Right? Or like, it's a financial institution. Okay. So when I, conducted a little bit further research, it meant the more you give to relationships, the more you'll get from them. And so, sticking to my true lightheartedness personality, I wanted to really make sure that we had something that was concise, fun, but impactful. So I remember laughing a ton. I mean, we laughed so hard at some of these examples. But then we had different conversations expressing the why and making sure that we didn't come up with another list of rules. So that was kind of the research phase of making sure we had a well-represented cultural commitment statement.
And then once we had the research phase, kind of filtered through and we were at a point where we thought we could move forward, I really feel personally, and I don't know how you guys felt, but really getting into the nitty gritty of the research and moving forward with our document. And I really felt like the turning point was when we used that that word cloud generator, and it really helped to identify for us, you know, the words and the values that our team members really hold dear and felt were very important to them as part of their culture. And so really when we put together that word cloud, the more words, the words that were put into the word cloud more often became larger and bigger in our cloud, right? And so from that word generator and from that word cloud, we were really able to identify the true core values for our cultural statement that we felt our team, all inclusive, our team felt were important to them in moving forward with our culture. And I really felt like at that point, you know, things started to really click and come together, and we really had a good path to move into for our new cultural commitment statement.
Wow, Amber, blown away. Research, anonymous surveys, open-ended questions, best practices, word clouds, right? Looking into the culture of other organizations. I've never been in an organization that cultivated their culture so thoroughly. And this is just amazing. And so the results are in. After having said and done all of that, you have results. And they are.
Drum roll, please.
We have our I Care statement.
So you guys, this is the statement we came up with, right? And we're so proud of it. And as you can see, you know, we still have bullet points, but it really encompasses a very easy to read, lighthearted, but it still hits all of the key points, right? And really what I want to share with you today is that when you look at this statement, you can truly see our core values. They really stick out, right? So the first one, integrity, communication, accountability, respect, excellence. And then, you know, the sixth core value that we were trying to work in, and what we really felt as a group encompasses everything, was teamwork, right? So our team identified that teamwork was truly important part of their culture that's necessary. And so if you look around the border of this document, you can see repeated time and time is teamwork, 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 you know, so that kind of hugs all the rest of our core values. And, you know, the bullet points under each core value really identify what that core value means and what we expect from that core value, right? As a team member, as a team, and as a whole. And so, you know, we were very excited to share this with you guys today, and kind of work through the path we took to get to this point. And I hope you see that, you know, with pictures and the color, you know, it is warm, it's welcoming, and this is what truly our, you know, our new hires see when they first meet with Lisa each day, or that first day.
So, Lisa, you came up with the I Care acronym. Can you kind of expound on that a little bit?
Sure. That was another team effort, and another, you know, we really did have a lot of fun while we did this. It was hard work, but we had these 6 values, and we were trying to find a quick way or a catchy way to put it all together. We're trying different acronyms and arranging the letters in various order. And that T kind of kept causing us a little challenge, but
you should have heard some of the stuff we came up with first. I'm so excited to have landed on I Care.
You don't want to eat a carrot? I carrot?
I Care? You didn't like that, Lisa? I Care?
We tried them all, but what turned out just being perfect about this, and it wasn't obviously something we thought of from the beginning, but just the acronym I Care, and of course don't want to forget surrounded by teamwork, that's the only way it works, but that I Care just on its own really sums up one of our main values and beliefs here at Michigan Works Southeast. We care about each other. We care about our customers. We care about our communities. And so it all fell into place again, a fun meeting where we tried to put it all together, and it just turned out well.
Okay, so you have the I Care statement. It's feel good, right? You all have went through great strides to formulate this I Care, but how do you get people to embrace it? What was the launch of this to say, hey, we're trying to give the organization a new look? How do you launch that?
Well, I'll go ahead because that was really, really fun. We had twice a year, well, before COVID, we would all get together. So from all 5 counties, we get together twice a year for a learning opportunity and just a chance to be together. And so that was the perfect way to unveil this new document that everyone knew we were working on, because we had done the survey and we had kept them updated all along that the Cultural Commitment Committee was working on this. So at that all staff meeting, every team member was presented with their own copy of the document in a little frame. And it's just wonderful when we walk through our service centers to see them hanging in people's workplaces and just keeping that in the forefront of our minds, what our culture is all about. So at that all staff meeting, when everybody got their individual, and we also had the picture you're looking now on your screen, you'll see the signatures all over it. So we had 5 big banners made with our statement on it, and we asked every employee to sign all 5 of those, and those banners are now hanging in each of our service centers with all of us committing to this by signing our names. And again, we see this big one every day. Frequently it's in the lunchroom, or that's what we did with our I Care statement to get the word out there and get that support and encouragement for it.
Yeah, I see comments in the chat. Sandy, we have the I Care document hanging in our office to reiterate the importance of it, not just talk about it. I love that, but live it. Yes, Sandy. And so this is what you set out to do. And from the looks of the chat, that's what happened, right? So the launch was a success. And what's next after that, right? They you get this out, then what's next?
Well, I just, for me, what I remember is, goodness, what is next? Like, are we done? Are we going to keep meeting? Like, how do we keep this alive? Or we didn't know. And then actually, COVID hit, right? So all of a sudden we have this pandemic, and everything's just upset, and people are working remotely, and we're not feeling connected. We're not seeing our banner every day. And so it was just awesome to have the Cultural Commitment Committee already in place to come together to say, hey, what role can we take in continuing to help us feel connected and share these values that we already have? So we did. We had this opportunity.
Sure. COVID was unprecedented and such a pivotal time for us all. How did you keep the cultural commitment statement alive and keep people engaged? Because that had to be tough.
It was, but again, this committee is just great. The volunteers are wonderful. There's so much creativity. We started several things. We had an online game we would play that was virtual, that everybody could participate in, and it was really fun. We have some competitive team members. We had a yoga session that people could, again, at lunch, participate in to keep us connected. We started a book club, and actually that book club is still in effect right now, that we could all read the same book and then discuss it together. And then one of the very first early on things that we did was we asked everybody to send in a video of themselves, what their new workspace looks like from home. And that was really good, because I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning, this was all so new and none of us were used to it. And it was just really fun to see what it looked like for people working at home. In fact, do we have that video, Nikki?
I'm going to try my best. So I know the audio, you more than likely are not going to be able to hear the audio. It is a great song that just kind of gives you all the good feels. However, I think we'll be able to portray the
Well, would you like for us to sing, Nikki?
Oh, go right ahead.
Nobody wants me to sing.
Right. And we can actually put the link in the chat a little later so everyone can access it.
And what encouraging messages, Nikki. This is great.
You know,
There's
I
Patty.
remember when this came out. Oh, do you guys remember like the TP, the toilet paper shortage?
Yeah,
I think Eric
yeah.
was online. Go
But I
ahead.
remember when this came out, you know, we were all at home. It was kind of a
Hey, there's
new-
my boss.
and just being able to see everybody in their own place and their, you know, smiles on their face, you know, not that they were just okay. And it was a reassuring and a good feeling just to know that.
Yeah, and this was inward facing. This did not get published outside of our organization. It was internal.
Yeah.
But wow, what a great message. You know, I found myself sitting alone at home during COVID, and this would have been just amazing, right? To see what a comfort to know you're not alone, right? You still got your coworkers, which is like family, because we have this culture statement that has cultivated. Like, this is great. This is great. There's Michael
I
Caine.
remember seeing like people, you know, their new coworkers were their puppies and their kittens and
Yeah.
Kids.
their kids. It was just neat to see them living in their own environment and still making it work, you know?
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Taking a quick break to say hello.
Yeah.
Staying apart is the best way to stay united. Isn't that the truth?
So our coworker used a filter with technology to age himself in that one, which I thought was just so creative.
There's a
Amber,
familiar face.
Yeah.
Nikki!
I don't
my
think
little
that.
coworker.
Look at that little girl.
She's bigger now.
I love that. Something will grow from all of this, and it will be you.
Even our state partners, you know, migrant service workers, veterans, we made sure that we were inclusive across our organization because we're so used to working together, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that was a great piece of it too, to be able to see.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So that was our feel good.
I feel good. How about you, ladies?
Especially when the music plays. No, I'm just kidding.
And then, you know, in addition to the video and the game and, you know, other things that we were doing during COVID, we were also really trying to stay connected and making sure that we are, you know, reaching out on important days, like making sure that we draw attention to our team members that have anniversaries. So every month we send out an email to all of our staff members, and you can kind of see the sample here, but just, you know, drawing attention to, hey, you know, so-and-so has an anniversary this month and they've been with the organization for, you know, some of them are like 20 years, over 20 years. And I think, you know, that is a huge commitment and dedication. And I think that's wonderful. And so being able to send that email out every month, and for everybody to, you know, after that goes out, you see all the emails like, congratulations, way to go. You know, it's just feels good. And to be a part of, you know, that really fits into the Cultural Commitment Committee to be able to bring light to those types of things, as well as birthdays. So, you know, every birthday in our service centers are also kind of, you know, acknowledged through an email to that person. So from the Cultural Commitment Committee, we have a volunteer in each service center that is sending out happy birthday emails to that particular person on their special day. And so it really, you know, makes them hopefully feel good to get that and just know that we know, we remember, and we acknowledge. So I feel like that's all part of keeping us live and keeping it moving forward and making sure that it is, you know, we are living the culture that we're trying to cultivate.
Yeah, and in addition to what Amber said, making sure it's live, we also want to make sure it's inclusive and that anyone in our organization can participate at any time, right? That's part of our culture. So in every internal newsletter that goes out on a monthly basis, we actually ask for our team members to submit recognition for I Care in action. So if they see a coworker living out any one of the core elements, including teamwork, they actually can nominate them to be recognized in the next month's newsletter. So there's a little red box, might be a little difficult for you to see on your screen, but that just takes our team members to a simple Google form where they can fill out, which core value did they witness, and would they like to remain anonymous, or would they like to, let the audience, or not audience, let our team know if they provided that nomination. And then in the next month's newsletter, we get to see how our team members are living out our core values, which is just really exciting to see on a monthly basis.
And I also like it because one, the group or the individual gets that shout out, right? But also it keeps other team members really kind of keeping our culture, keeping that idea in the forefront every day so that they can identify somebody else who is living the culture and getting that out there. So I think it's a great way to, as a group, keep your culture on the forefront.
Yeah, and you can nominate a team member, you can nominate a whole office, you can nominate a community partner, just to make sure that we're keeping that, inclusion alive.
Wow, I like this. So, ladies, with all of this passion that you have clearly displayed for our cultural commitment statement, what are your hopes moving forward? What would you like to see? What would you like the takeaways to even be from this morning show?
So we would like to take a quick few minutes to do a pop quiz with you. I'm not going to tell you where you can find these, but the first person who can list in our comment section here a core value that we have or that we've identified as an important piece of our culture. If you could pop that into the comment here, we may have a quick prize. Or
maybe that's not a Michigan Works team member.
Oh, and the results are pouring in. Accountability, integrity, respect, communication. I love it. Yes.
and these are great words, not even for culture, but just living, right?
Right.
Great words.
Outside of your organization, this should be incorporated in your everyday self, right?
Right.
We all want to be our best selves.
So I know that thank you everybody for participating, and everybody's got them, right? They're easy to remember and they're great to just keep repeating on the screen. So keep writing them. But honestly, the first person, I don't know if we can scroll back up and see who that first person was.
It was Sandy Valance, accountability. At 10:57, go Sandy.
Good job, Sandy.
And Maria Guerra, she was also 10:57. So that was, they all were accountability. They were like all right at 10:57. But Sandy's hit first. So thank you, Sandy. Thank you, everyone.
All right, Sandy, we will get with you later, and make sure you get that prize.
And Josie, to your question earlier, like, what are we hoping people take away from this? I would like to challenge everyone to take action. We, just spent the better part of about 45 minutes going over why culture is so important to us. And we hope that you feel the same way. That's why you're in this presentation, I hope. But if you can take action, go back to your work day to day and provide a shout out to one of your coworkers that's living what your culture, what your company culture is, and what you hope it is, or hope it to be. I think that's very contagious, and I think that you can create a positive snowball effect from that. So if you do one thing today, please make sure that you give recognition and shout out a coworker for living what you feel your company culture is or should be. That's a takeaway I hope that we have from this presentation.
That's so important, Nikki. I love that, because you just never know whose day you're going to make, whose smile will reappear, and just the morale boost, the encouragement, and then just to reinforce that, hey, we're all in this together and we're family. So I love that, Nikki. And I hope that people will do it.
And if you think about culture, and I think we've said it earlier today, we spend so many hours at work, right? More than what we spend at home. And so if you and your organization can spend a little bit of time cultivating and growing and just identifying what's important in your culture, work life, it's going to be so much greater for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I would like to thank you all. If there's anything else, are there any questions and answers that we can provide in the chat? Please feel free to throw them in there.
Yeah, that would be great. Or anything that you thought might be particularly helpful to give us feedback. You guys might have ideas too for us to incorporate. We're always looking for that. If there's something you want to share with us at this point, that would be great too.
Larry Sanders said, wonderful. Great ideas to continue the teamwork focus. Thank you, Larry. Sally Clark said, great job. Thank you, Sally. Angela Watkins. Oh, this is Misty. Thank you all for the great presentation and for your commitment to building a wonderful culture for MWSC. Thank you, Misty, by way of Angela. So if we have no more questions, ladies, do you have any closing statements you'd like to make or leave people with?
Go
Are we all
Bears.
set?
We're back to
Go Lions.
I'm still rooting for those Lions too, Josie, you and I.
and go MWSE. This really is a great place to work, and let's make a concerted effort every day when we get up and come to work and renew that working contract that we are committed to this cultural statement and to each other, right?
Yeah.
Great. Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
Josie.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.